Okay, ladies and gentle dudes and children of all ages, I'm going to actually read almost a whole chapter of the book that set world's records called The Memoirs of Billy Shears. And I'm probably going to get in trouble for doing it, but I'm going to do it anyway because I think this is a chapter that needs to be read. And also, just to help out the publishers and let them know they fucked up on this chapter too, because I've told them where else they fucked up on. This chapter is called Stone to Hell, We Called the Press. But where it shows the chapter on each one, it says a chapter name, they fucked up and they put the next chapter, which is called More Satanic Murders. Throughout this chapter, it says more satanic murders on every top of every page. And it's actually how many pages? From 348 to 368. So I'm actually thinking it was purposely done this way because all the other chapters are perfectly marked. More satanic murders up there, it says more satanic murders. And on every other chapter you go to, I am the Gray Seal. Who is the Gray Seal? That's the chapter, I am the Gray Seal. But only this one chapter, and it happens to be right at the middle of the book, which I remember doing this in another lifetime, right in the middle of two of my plays when I was Sir Francis Bacon. I purposely numbered the pages wrong, and I purposely numbered the chapters wrong. In the folio, 7 years after the illiterate playwright named, or he wasn't a playwright, the illiterate actor called William Shakespeare, Slick Willie I called him. 7 years after he died, I published the main folio, which is the only legal version of the writings of Sir Francis Bacon under the Shakespeare title, which is Shakespeare hyphen Spear, which is a reference to the founding of the Rosicrucians, which is what I did in that lifetime. So there's a reason why this chapter is exactly at the middle of the book, which is what I did with the plays, and I changed the numbering of the pages. And the reason I did that is because inside those chapters is where I put the cipher. So if you can decipher those plays, which the congressman in the U.S., and I forget his name, back in the turn of the 19th century, he almost ciphered most of the original folio. Now, before the original folio, 7 years after the actor, which I pretended like he was the writer of the plays, and I actually, in the plays, I put that his name was Shakespeare, not Shakespeare. So if you look at the folio, the original folio, it's called Shake-Spears, which is because Aphrodite and Apollo, which are the two on the folio, the two characters that are at the top of their actual statues, insignia on the cover of the original folio of 1620. I forget when I did it. It was a long time ago. I have a lot of historical amnesia, so I'm going to look it up right now. Because I'm going to have to look up a few other things in this so you can figure out that there's also probably a cipher in here that's not the main cipher, because I'm going to read the other ciphers that he points out where they are. And this one is getting me to realize there must be another cipher in here that he hasn't yet told you about. Now why is it doing this music thing? Okay, so original. The good thing is I didn't have access to Wikipedia and all this shit back in the days, but original folio of Shake, Shake hyphen Spears. Now, the guy who is in the play, I put as the actor in the play, William Shakespeare, which is spelled S-H-A-K, no E, so it's not shake. And spur is spelled S-P-E-R-E, not spear, S-P-A-R. I use his name because it was a good name to fool you guys all with, because I didn't want to die in that lifetime, because I put a lot of things in the play that weren't supposed to be let out, which only my friends in the Rosicrucians knew of, and some other high Illuminati organizations. Okay, so original folio of William Shakespeare was 1623. So this character, William they say Shakespeare here. His name wasn't William Shakespeare. Nowhere on any of his legal papers is you see Shakespeare. It's Shakespeare, because he lived in a shack, and he used spurs because he was a horse trader. He was more than that, but anyway. That's what I'll call him in this time. So this cat died April 23rd, 1616. But the first printed folio, legally printed folio that I and the Rosicrucians put out under English Renaissance Theater, which was 630 pages long, was published in 1623. So 1623, and he died in 1616, which is how many years? 7 years? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Yes, 7 years, exactly what I thought. Now, the reason why we did it 7 years after he died is there's a more, you have to cipher the rest of the play, which I'm going to cipher someday in the future when you guys are ready, but I'm still working on that. So I published a book called The Great Cipher, or no, the congressman who also published the most amazing book on the true historical facts of the lost continent called, what was it called? Well, one of the many names of it was Aztlan, but that was in the ancient languages. Aztlan was Atlantis in some other languages. Also, I wrote the story called the New Atlantis, which is credited to my name, unlike a lot of the stuff that I didn't want credited to my name, which would have got me killed, which I ciphered in the plays, because the plays were twofold. One, to awaken people up to higher culture, which I studied in other countries. The other was to wake people up to what was hidden in the ciphers. And the good thing is, even if you don't know there's a cipher, your subconscious mind knows there's a cipher. So if you don't understand when I read this what the hidden messages are, your subconscious mind does. So that's what the Beatles did with backmasting, because your subconscious mind can hear things backwards and hear things forward. And even though your peanut brain, called your cognitive mind, which is a foreign importation, which is not your real, isn't even yours, it's a handed down piece of crap that you should throw away. Anyway, so we're going to start reading a little bit of this, and this is going to get me probably some lawsuits, which is what I don't really desire and require, but I feel is one of the necessary things I need to do to get out this truth of what is in this cipher. Okay, so Stone to Hell, we called the press. This is written by the guy who you think is Sir Paul McCartney, Sir Paul James McCartney. Anyway, his name is actually, one of his many stage names was Billy Shears and Billy Pepper and Sergeant Pepper and William Shears and William Campbell and a bunch of other names, and Vivian Stanstall. But here he wrote, "With the spiritual darkness felt in this chapter and in the next, I realize that I should explain why I agreed to include it. I want you to understand that Satanism, aside from its spiritual effect or from its religious significance, is a political network used by this planet's most eminent social engineers." Now, the social engineers he's talking about are the ones who engineered the false flag operation called Hitler and the false flag operation called the Reichstag burning. The Reichstag, the federal building in the Federal Republic of Germany. They put him in power. They burned the frickin' building to do like the fucking Illuminati did in the U.S., caused 3 buildings to fall with 2 planes because the other plane got landed by people that were inside agents that figured out what they were going to do. And you thought it was a bunch of guys who actually were in the Marines and stuff like that. Anyway, they knew. They chose to go to death, not to let the 3rd building get smashed, because the 3rd building contained all the files for the Enron case, which is the whole reason why they did September 11th, because they wanted to get rid of the Enron case, which they happily did, because they had all the hard copies in the SEC, what is it called? SEC? Securities Exchange Commission had all the hard copy files on that building number 7, which came down with no plane hitting it, that the guy who also was the leaseholder of all 3 buildings went on the news before it went down and said, we decided to pull it. And he didn't realize, oh, it was already it didn't yet come down. He made a mistake. And they also published in a couple papers in Europe the falling of the buildings before they actually fell, because they got the time change wrong, because they already knew the explosions were going to go off at a certain time, but they didn't go off at that time. And the buildings didn't come down when they were supposed to come down, and they fucked up, and some of the editors got fired, and some of them got killed. But they quickly burned those papers, and only a few got out, so that they don't know unless you have a copy of those like I do. Anyway, I won't go into that, because that's my... I have those in different boxes, hidden away boxes in secret files, that if they try to take me out, I could say, read this paper. Is this paper the one you didn't see, or you did see? That didn't happen before it happened? Okay, anyway. So the Illuminati, they are on my side, because they actually don't know who I am yet, but that's okay, because they will know. Okay, so that's what these new social engineers are. I do not endorse Satanism, but have always accredited it in connection with those who made the Beatles the immortal band that it became. So in order for the Beatles to become the Beatles, a world-famous British invasion, the Eastern Bloc of the Illuminati, otherwise known as the Rothschilds, and the Western Bloc, otherwise known as the... we'll just give one of them family names that is the main Illuminati family that banned hemp in the 30s and made it be called marijuana. And also they got all hemp-fueled cars and diesel cars, which were run on peanut oil, to start running on toxic sludge left over from industrial waste, which we call petroleum based fuel, which is just total nonsense, so that the Rockefeller family, which is the main line of the Illuminati on the West Coast, are on the left continent. The left continent, the right continent, is the Rothschilds families, dynasties, Illuminati branch. So the formation of the Beatles was in order to bring back the power temporarily to the Rothschild side of the Illuminati family, the Illuminati bloodlines, and the September 11th was to bring the power back to the dark side. I won't say which one's dark actually and light side, because there's no dark and light. It's all there's enough white hats like me inside each family, and there's enough dark black hats like the ones who are going to comment on this video and try to say that I'm full of shit. They're the dark hats trying to not let you know the message that I'm going to spin in this. So I'm using this reading of this chapter to spin another story, which is not really contained in this chapter, which is the cipher that you didn't read. Okay, I do not endorse Satanism, but have always accredited it in connection with those who made the Beatles the immortal band that it became. Okay, so these Satanists. Now there's good Satanists and there's bad Satanists. Just like there's good witches and bad witches on the Wizard of Oz, and there's good magicians and good I'm a warlock. There's good warlocks and bad warlocks, and there's good witches and bad witches, and there's good cults and there's bad cults. I did found a good cult, which is called, well, you can go watch it on, I have videos on it, so you can find out the cult that I founded. It's a good cult. It's here to change the planet. So I use the cult name with honor, and so do I use the Illuminati name. I'm not officially recognized by the Illuminati, but I am a member because I'm a secret member. I'm a secret agent. Okay, but you only know me as the name I put on this YouTube video page, which is not really me, so that the lawyers can be going around in circles kissing asses until they find out who I truly am. They call me Tim Janakis, they call me Tim Van Kampen, they call me TVC15, TVC16, or they call me, okay, that's in the cipher too. Okay, let's go on. At the top of the world's governing body, which oversees the banks, news media, the most public opinions, there is an ambitious organization who labor to use their global dominance to create the New World Order. So the New World Order was talked about way before the CIA director became president, aka Bush the lesser. No, Bush the better. The lesser was the second one who stole, whose hitman stole 2 elections and created September 11th, as blaming it on some guys in caves who were on dialysis, which is total absolute insanity, because he was actually part of the CIA. This guy on dialysis that they killed off, one of the many agents of the CIA that they put the blame on as scapegoats, and then they kill him off to say, oh yeah, so they don't know all your secrets that they were gonna tell you about who they work for and how they work for, and the fact that they're pansies and patsies like the guy named Oswald, which is another Oswald character in here and also in the plays that I wrote back in the 16 and 1500s. But that all goes together because it's part of the same story that's been rewoven and woven and woven again. So go read those plays, even though you probably can't read them because I put them in the fucking language that's so fucking... But there is a new language that I'm going to write them in, which you got to read all my other books that are published that you never heard of. Okay. And I'm not going to name them here. I hope that the included spiritual aspects do not cloud the issues of how and why Satanism is being used by globalists. Internationally, or intentionally, I read that wrong. Intentionally, all such issues are so abhorrent in discussions of real-world affairs that rational people find them unthinkable. So this whole idea that September 11th was an inside job is so unthinkable to people that they won't even entertain the idea, because they can't break the bubble of the myth of this reality that is holding them incarcerated in the causal incongruities and the causal inculcations of fucking bullshit fate. Is that what it's called? What was the song by David Bowie? I'm tethered to the logic of Homo sapiens. Can't take my eyes from the great salvation of bullshit fate. I am living on. Okay, anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, I have to talk in metaphors for all the people that are sleepwalking sheeple. Okay, I hope that the included spiritual aspects do not cloud the issue of how and why Satanism is being used by globalists. Intentionally, all such issues are so abhorrent in discussions of real-world affairs. Now, he keeps saying this real reality, the real-world affairs, as if there's anything as a real world. There's no such thing as a real world. Everything is a myth. This whole fucking table here is a fucking myth. It's just fucking held together by your fucking thoughts, my thoughts, everyone else's thoughts, because we all agree that the fucking table would stay together. As soon as you're willing to agree that you can walk through the table, you'll walk through the table, but it has to be enough of us 100 monkeys to fucking agree, and most of us will be able to walk through the table or run through the walls like I do all the time when I do lucid dreaming, because this is actually not the real world. There is no such thing as a real world. There is only virtual vibrational realities that appear to be real. Okay, anyway, getting back to this reading, the real world affairs that rational people find them unthinkable. Rational people. Who are rational people? Not for sure the people who run these Illuminati organizations. No, they're irrational, completely irrational. And most of the people that believe that September 11th was done by some guy in a cave with on dialysis are totally irrational people. So I don't know many rational people in this world. They're all like fucking sleepwalking zombies that think they're rational because they're fucking being controlled by the thinking of the mass media corporatocracy that runs mediocrity, otherwise mediocracy. Okay. Until the public learns to let go of their fears. Fear is a distractor implant. So if you have any fear about anything, like you're afraid to read the chapter of this book on YouTube because you're afraid some lawyer is going to fucking sue you, then you're being controlled by a fucking implant. It's a fucking... Fear is a fucking implant. There's no such thing as fear. Dicyclo says faith is to fear nothing, to stand unswayed, the power to surmount any fucking obstacle. Faith is the source of all solutions. The mighty ship needed to cross the fucking sea of suffering. He didn't use all those fucks, but I read that in there. Okay, so if you have any fear about anything, whether it's reading a fucking chapter of a book that you think you're going to get sued, or doing what I did and fucking posting all these videos that all these so-called healing organizations and charity people and goodness people are going to fucking try to sue me for posting, then you're being controlled by what's called a distractor implant. It's an implant. It's a fucking... I had a fucking bump on my head last time I talked to you guys. It's gone. There's no fucking bump there anymore. I had a fucking huge horn, and you know why? Because it was a fucking distractor implant, and I fucking took it out. I fucking can't even find the place for it anymore. But you saw it. Go back and watch the fucking videos. I had a big fucking horn. I wonder where it was. Anyway, it was a distractor implant. It was a fucking implant from my future perfect self, Bajat Foch, who fucking put it there as like fucking one of those patches that you put for pregnancy if you don't want to get pregnant. It drops a little fucking hormone every month, so it fucking stops your period and shit. Well, this fucking one was a time capsule fucking memory drip from my future perfect self about who I truly be and who I truly could choose to be if I chose to be who I truly could choose to be if I wasn't ruled by distractor implants of fear, doubt, and all the other bullshit distractor implants that if you're afraid of the people who did September 11th, you're afraid of the Illuminati, you're afraid of cabals, you're afraid of... I don't have any fear of anything. That's why I answer my fucking phone like I just did. When someone called right now, I just fucking answered my phone. I said, I put my fucking headphones on. Where's my fucking phone? Okay, here's my phone. $50 fucking headset. $58 head. No. Yeah, it was $58. That fucking phone over there was fucking $60. Anyway, so I can answer the phone when I fucking push it. I go, CIA Asian Task Force, Petty Officer Joseph speaking. How can I help you, sir, ma'am? And then the lawyers fucking go, what the fuck is this guy? Anyway, luckily I used to sell memberships at Family Fatness Center, which is right across the street from the Miramar base, and almost all the people who entered the drawings would all go, they all talk like a southern accent like this, and they all worked at Miramar Naval Base, and they're like, you just called West Coast entrance of the Miramar Naval Base. How can I help you? Petty Officer Joseph speaking. How can I help you, sir, ma'am? It's like, I got it all down, you know? I fucking learned the fucking act. It's all an act, dude. This whole fucking reality is an act. I'm acting like I'm Tim Janakis. I'm acting like I'm fucking Tim Van Kampen. I'm acting like I'm TVC16, but you don't know who the fuck I really am, because I'm Bajat Foch from the future perfect reality of 2424. Okay, back to the story. I have to throw in these little things. People say, you know, you should just fucking stick on subject. If I did, they wouldn't know I was fucking absolutely insane. And I want them to know I'm fucking absolutely insane so they don't fucking try to take me to court. Because if they take me to court, I'm fucking... You think I'm fucking acting insane now. Watch when the judge fucking questions me and I fucking make them their heads fucking spin like this. Yeah! Then they're gonna be like, get him out of my fucking courtroom! He's fucking clinically insane! And I'll be like, thank you very much. Okay, anyway. My wife's gonna come up now. I think she heard that one. Anyway. She just bitched me out for only giving her $50,000 for the... No, $5,000 for the last 4 months in a row. Like, okay, I'm supposed to give you more than $5,000 a month? Even though you don't fucking have any part of my life whatsoever? You're just the... I am the accounts receivable department. She's the accounts payable department. So all she does is she pays all the bills and all the legal fees and all the other shit for all the... You know, all the lawyers I have for all the... trials and tribulations that I'm fighting on many fronts that I won't tell you about because they're top secret. And if I told you, I'd have to kill you. Okay, back to this reading. This is what I'm not really telling you about. I'm using this just to tell you the other story that I wanted to tell you, but if I told you, I'd have to kill you. So, anyways, you're gonna have to read between the lines because there are books to read between the crannies and the nooks. What's that one? Read it in the books, in the crannies, in the nooks. There are books to read, sowing the seeds of love. Okay, I'm getting back to the reading, but you gotta get entertained by all the other commercials in between, because if you don't understand that this is the fucking real deal, then you don't understand anything. And I am the real deal, even though you don't know who I am, because I'm not going to tell you until my future perfect self is ready to tell you. And comes on the fucking Skyrider with the fucking planes going over the beach and fucking spells out everything I was trying to spell out in this video that you couldn't fucking understand. Okay, however absurd, Satanism has infiltrated all of our major networks of media, commerce, politics, and religion. It collects and controls adherents nested within unsuspecting corporations, spreading its influence. It is well known that international bankers run the world's media, commerce, and politics. What is not readily understood is the extensiveness of their Illuminati network, branching out in all directions on every front throughout the world. The vast network is not about banking. That is just a funding source. That colossal network has always been about the power to control the masses and ultimately the entire world. Nearly everyone, regardless of their awareness of it, is in the network already through several lines of influence: banking, entertainment, government, and major corporations. Satanism is merely one of many long, thin threads. So it's just one of the many. There's also Timism, there's Paulism, there's infinitism, which is my future perfect religion of the year 2424. But there is no time and space, so if you're willing to be the space that I truly be, then you will actually be able to go to sleep at night and be with me in the future, because the future already exists, just like the past already doesn't exist. Did I just say that? Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Beckham nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Repeat after me. Beckham everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Beckham nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. If you repeat after me, you're going to understand the code that I do after this, so please repeat after me. Beckham everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Beckham nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Beckham everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Beckham nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. This is my Christmas present to you. That's why I'm wrapping it like I am wrapping it. And you don't even realize it because you're not willing to open it. Okay, so I'm going to go on. EMI, Electric and Musical Industry Limited, is a British music company formed in March of 1931. Okay, March of 1931. You want to also know what else happened that year? You might look in the history books. Just go Wikipedia 1931 and look at all the fucking things that happened that year, and you'll realize why we founded that corporation like we founded that corporation. And you might even know who I was after I was William Shakespeare. Actually, no, William Shakespeare was a myth. There was a William Shakespeare, Slick Willie, who used to be paid to watch the horses outside the theater until we got tired of his ugly ass outside. We said, why don't you fucking play? Because there's a sick guy was supposed to play the part of this, and that we fucking pulled this guy in Willie Shakespeare, who was fucking illiterate. So our fucking other guys had to fucking read the lines to him and rehearse with him by reading his lines and repeat after me because he couldn't fucking read anything, and you thought he fucking wrote all these plays, and the only way he could have wrote all these plays if he not only read English, but he read Spanish, and he read French, and he read Italian, and he read Greek, and he read Latin, because all the plays were written based on the stories that were not published in English but published in all those other languages I just named, which I studied when I was a foreign exchange student, when my dad was a fucking minister of the British royal family, acting in another country as an agent of the royal crown. Okay, so that's who I am, and that's who I be, who I was, and who I will be in the future, perfect self again. Okay, so making big war profits in World War II. So EMI, unlimited supply, EMI, as Sex Pistols sings, is Electric and Musical Industries Limited. It's a big war profiting corporation that later started to work with recording, because they realized in order to control the masses, they have to control the music industry and control the thinking. And if it's not the TV shows, it's all part of the control mechanism of your YouTube is not yet fully in the system, and I'm helping to keep it out of the system. And I'm giving the sign of what that is here, if you can read signs. And I'll also give you the other sign, if you can read signs. So those two will tell you what I'm not willing to tell you with the eye scratches, because all the sleeper cells of the agency that I work for okay? So, Making big war profits in World War II, they made radar equipment and guided missiles, then later branched into broadcasting equipment, television cameras, and computers. In November 1931, they were founded in March, so only 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, only 8 months later, or actually 7 months later, they decided, like 7 years after I published the portfolio, after that kook guy actor who was a horse manager died. 7. We always use 7s. 7s are very important, so we waited 7 months. The company made studios for recording and later remastering music. These recording studios, which we Beatles made eminent, are located at Abbey Roads in St. John's Wood in the city of Westminster, a borough in the center of Greater London. Now, I used to live in Westminster, not this Westminster, but the other Westminster, and I used to live in another city next to Westminster that had the chimes of Westminster playing every hour. Bing, bong, bing, bong, bing, 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 bong, bing, bong, bing, bong, bing, 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 bong. If you've ever heard that, that's chimes of Westminster. That's from the Westminster Bell Tower, which is in the city of London. Oh, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say the city of London. I'm not allowed to say the city of London yet. So just forget the whole reference to the city of London because I didn't say it. Okay, so the city of Westminster is in the boroughs of the center of the Greater London, not the city of London, because the city of London's a secret cabal that you're not supposed to know about yet. Okay. Work in the network was aided by EMI's retained military intelligence. Oscar Preuss, P-R-E-U-S-S, head of EMI's Parlophone Records. Parlophone Records was, making these fucking, the old record players, they had like this fucking megaphone thing. I forgot what that was called. Anyway, Parlophone. Look up what that actually means because that's a play on words actually. So from 1950 to 55, this Oscar Preuss was the head of EMI. He had an assistant whom he trained under him, who took over when Preuss retired. The new leader, George Martin, you know the name. He was in charge of the Beatles. He was actually known as the fifth Beatle because he played most of the instruments and helped all the recording and cleaned up the recording and all the shit, the trash, because they weren't that good songwriters and they weren't that good musicians, so he had to fucking do half the shit that they didn't do and hire ghost musicians to fucking play half the shit in the studio that they didn't play right. Okay, so George Martin, whose past oboe teacher was Jane Austen's mother. Now Jane Austen was the daughter of the oboe teacher who was teaching George Martin, and Jane Asher became the girlfriend of the first Paul McCartney, which the second Paul McCartney, otherwise writer of this book, ended up not really dating her, but friending her to help the transition over from the old Paul McCartney to the new Paul McCartney, get the whole deep emotional attachment that he had to her processed in his writing and stuff like that. Anyway, so they recorded classical music and Baroque music. George Martin, he was an oboe player along with many other instruments he played. He big hit plays. He did big hit plays, and some of the regional music from the British Isles. So EMI was big war profit. They not only helped out the communication networks for the Allied forces, but they also secretly helped out the communication networks for the Manchurian candidate, otherwise known as Adolf Hitler, who didn't fucking really do anything but give good speeches and scream loud, and everyone got all wild up. Oh, he's a great screamer, but he didn't fucking lead anything. He was a fucking puppet. But anyway, after the puppet went into, after the war, and they said he died, which they don't have any remains of him, just like they said the guy in the caves and that they said died in the, and they buried him and they drowned him in the ocean, which the ocean was so fucking far away from where they said they killed him that it would be so fucking tactically stupid to even think they would actually fly all the way to the fucking ocean to drown him, to bury him at sea. These fucking lies these fucking organizations tell, they purposely tell them out in front of your face to show you how fucking stupid you are if you fucking believe anything they say. So, anyway, I'm getting off subject here because I have so much more I want to say than I can actually say in this thing, which I have to encapsulate in between things I say, because if I said it all, your fucking jaw would drop and your fucking head would spin, and then you would never be able to understand another fucking word I said, because you'd fucking deprogram yourself from the matrix, which is the processing that I'm doing right now on your head, is deprogramming you from the myths of this reality. So once again, Beckhamx, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Beckhamx, nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Okay, so I'll just go on reading before I put in my 2 cents about all this stuff. While the Beatles were performing in strip clubs over in Hamburg, their manager, Brian Epstein, at length convinced Parlophone's George Martin to consider recording them. George Martin said that the drummer, Pete, could not keep the beat and had him replaced. Even though George Harrison followed George Martin's order, had already hired a replacement, Ringo, who already had played a few times with them before. So in some cases where Pete couldn't come into the studio, or he was sick, or he was not feeling good, or he couldn't show up at a concert because he was fucking all hungover, they had Ringo sit in on a lot of different things before, but that wasn't ever known publicly because they would make him look kind of like they made the new guy look like John. They can do a lot of fucking things when they want to do things. Anyway, I won't get all into it right now, but Ringo played with the Beatles before he was credited as playing with the Beatles secretly. Okay, George Martin hired a new drummer to help with their recording sessions. So they said, okay, get a new drummer for your live performances. And so George Harrison already got Ringo, but Martin was already getting another drummer for the recording studio because he didn't believe any of them would find a drummer worthwhile for what he was going to push them into recording professionally, unlike the bullshit that they played with their crap-ass fucking bands they called the Corey men, which were fucking all blah, 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 like fucking say nothing but a hound dog, like that, and fucking John Lennon's kicking people in the head that are coming up on stage. They were fucking drunk ass motherfuckers who were making girls pregnant left and right. Anyway, that's covered in other sections in this, but I won't get into that because they're not who you think they are. And it's funny that, ironically funny that John Lennon became who you think John Lennon is once he met his Japanese crazy wife. No, I wouldn't say that. All wives, just because I married two that were crazy doesn't, no, I didn't, well, the first one wasn't crazy. She was just fucking 10 years younger than me, and she was a little, anyway, we won't get into that. Go watch my other videos. I already documented that fully and completely. Ringo showed up unaware of the redundancy and got to help out on the recording with tambourines, etc. So Ringo was told to come down to the recording studio, and they're like, oh, but we forgot to tell you there's another drummer that's going to play the drumming. But you're going to be credited for the drumming, okay? Is that fine? But you can do some tambourine on the side. We'll let you do a little bit, you know, beat and stuff so you can kind of get used to the songs. We're going to have you playing because you're a good front man. You're a good, as long as you do the fucking head right and all that. Anyway, the reason why the drumming got so much better with the later recordings after '66 is because the new Paul McCartney also was a great drummer and was also a great bass player, way better than the old Paul McCartney. A great piano player, a great string player, a bunch of other. He was a great writer, arranger, unlike all the Beatles. So George Martin actually did well by hiring him to take over a lot of the slack that he had to do all by himself. And credit Ringo with all the amazing drumming, like on Strawberry Fields and stuff. That was actually the new Paul McCartney, which wrote this book. But Ringo learned from his guidance and his how to play like that live, but they didn't do a lot of live stuff because he wasn't as good. They weren't all as good as the recording studio musicians that they had come in, and a lot of the bass, guitar, and all the other parts, drumming, were all done by this new Billy Shears guy, which is why they couldn't really do it all live, because they weren't that good musically. They can do the "I wanna hold your hand," because it was fucking like cakewalk and shit. Okay. But of course they got better musically playing with such a good musician, otherwise known as Billy Shears, because he helped, you know, teach them how to play their instruments right. And when they left the studio with their parts terribly done, and they're like, "Oh, it's all good. We that's what we did on our other albums. It'll sell. I don't care. We're Beatles." He would have to stay up all night and fucking re-record all the shit, right, and correct all the mistakes they made. Okay, Ringo showed up unaware. We already read that part. Martin's assessment was that the band had extremely little talent, but quite likable personality. So they were just hired for their personalities, like Smop and all these Milli Vanilli. No, that was they didn't do anything. They just danced and lip sync. But like Ricky Martin, otherwise known as Menudo, they were just a bunch of freaking kids, fucking can dance and fucking look pretty and shit. Okay. In Japan, that's all there is now. Fucking all just these dancing fools that lip sync, and they use now they have fucking mics in Japan that do pitch correction while you're singing. So you don't have to fucking go in later in the studio and correct all your pitch. It's fucking in the fucking microphone. You can sing like all these guys at the station, man. If you go, the reason why I get kicked out of every station in Japan is because the singers in Japan fucking singing at the station sounds like they're fucking dying dog. So if they let me sing, they're going to have to let all these fucking screaming guys that go, and they all sing out of tune, and they fucking scream so loud that their voice goes out and shit like that. And I sing fucking good and shit. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But they figure they have to kick me out even though I sound good, because they don't want to have those screamers there. So it's kind of like the lowest common denominator in Japan. You gotta, it's part of the cult of culture that's at work here. So we gave Brian orders to clean them up and make them look presentable and innocent. Sorry. So Brian was their manager, and George Martin gave Brian the orders to make them look cleanable and presentable, because they were fucking all wearing leather jackets and had these fucking mullets and shit, and they were all steel toe fucking Martin boots and Dr. Martin boots, Dr. Martin boots. What do we all have in common here in England? We all got our fucking Dr. Martin boots, right? Okay. You know Vivian said that. Not Vivian Stanza, but the other Vivian. I think that's a fucking standstill. Standstill, not standstill. Okay, with Martin's help, they would turn their little songs into big hits. He would change parts, add piano, and do whatever it took to make the Beatles marketable. Because before they were just fucking loud noise, fucking big-haired rocker, leather jacket, steel toe wearing fucking drunks who half the time showed up too fucking drunk to actually do a show and slept with all the fucking waitresses and all the fucking girls in the front row. Okay, he was eventually known as the fifth Beatle. This is the Martin guy, because he played all the instruments until the sixth Beatle came in and re-recorded all the tracks much better, because he was a great studio musician. He was eventually known, okay, I already said that, for doing so much, but was never actually a band member. Resisting getting cleaned up as well when the Rolling Stones also got a recording contract. So they also got a recording contract with EMI, but they said, we're not going to fucking play along with your bullshit fucking clean us up crap. You know, we're fucking rock and rollers, and we're going to always be rock and rollers. If you want to sign us, you fucking sign us. If you don't want to sign us, fuck you. And so they signed. But EMI, like all the fucking Illuminati organizations, realized that divide and conquer is the way to fucking control everything. So they always want the polar opposites to be competing on the fucking Billboard charts. Just like Blur and fucking Oasis, they acted like they were polar opposites to play the fucking masses into fucking taking sides. You're either a normal person. I want to be a normal person. Or you're a fucking preppy. As if there's any fucking difference with a fucking normal person and a preppy. But that's what they played on the fucking fears of the masses, and they were the fucking Illuminati who fucking were so high up in the fucking cabals that even the preppy so-called Blur was to their point of view was fucking shit, because they fucking don't even fucking go shopping for themselves. They fucking have fucking their chauffeurs and their fucking cooks fucking go shopping for them. They don't even know how to fucking use them fucking scanners. Like when George Bush the first went into a fucking supermarket and they're like all scanning the fucking things, he's like, what the fuck is this? Whoa, because he'd never been to a fucking supermarket. And he was on fucking live TV, and there's like the fucking president of the United States never fucking been to a supermarket. And everyone's like, okay, we can't fucking play that on the fucking CNN, because CNN's supposed to be known as the commercial news network, or the fucking corporate news network, or the fucking, I don't remember what it's fucking called anymore. Anyway, I'm overstepping my boundary here. Okay, resisting getting cleaned up. When the Rolling Stones also got a recording contract, they each opted to pass themselves off as the Beatles' nasty rival, because they always have to have, this is the human programming. Humans always have to have fucking divide and conquer to fucking do anything. I'm a humanoid, and most people that have watched my videos are probably humanoids, or you would have turned it off a long time ago, because you realize there's no such thing as linearity or concentricity. So if you realize I'm not really going off on a tangent, it's all tied together, because nothing is not tied together, then you will understand that there's no time and space, and there's no space and there's no linearity. There's no time and space are myths, or what is it called? E equals mc squared. Energy equals mass times the square root of the speed of light, but actually there is no mass. There is no speed of light, and there is no energy in and of itself. That's for a later video, but anyway. This reality controlled by humans has created this lie called gravitational force, and this lie called time, and this lie called distance. So in order for light to exist at a speed, it has to be a distance, but there's no such thing as distance. So space and time are part of the matrix field reality that you think is real, just like you think I'm real. How? I feel real. Anyway, they fucking encoded that all in my fucking brain to make me think I'm real. But anyway, I'm not real. I'm a figment of some lame cunt's imagination, and you tell me what fucking movie that's from, I'll give you fucking a new free CD. I'll send it to you. Okay. Back to this. The Beatles would be promoted as the good boys. Oh no. I almost fucking overshot the most important part of this paragraph, which I was trying to tie in with another hint of who I am and who you are, but I'm not going to put it in this one. So this whole Rolling Stones rivalry, which is they did with Blur, and Blur was so fucking stupid that I feel so bad that I'm a preppy boy and I went to a elite school and I'm not normal like Oasis, who are from poor background and working family, and I feel so bad about that. And Oasis is like, those fucking preppy boys never had to work for a living. Blah, blah, blah. They were fucking just so stupid. Fucking Oasis and Blur were just like the fucking Rolling Stones and Beatles. They thought there was a fucking divide between. There's no such thing. There's only oneness. We are all poor. We are all rich. We are all fucking famous. We are all fucking infamous. We are all devils and we are all angels, whatever you choose to fucking actualize in any 10-second increment of this fucking reality that doesn't really exist. Okay, back to the fucking paragraph. Resisting getting cleaned up as well, when the Rolling Stones also got a recording contract, they each opted to pass themselves off as the Beatles' nasty rival. Listen to this part. It played perfectly into the hands of the secret committee of 300. As the snitch said, quote, with the Beatles in their right hand and the Stones in their left, they would transform the whole world. So this is what they did in the 90s in the British invasion of the fucking Blur and Oasis, as if they're two different fucking things because they tried to fucking play them off. And neither did Oasis nor Blur fucking cause this battle between the two. Who's gonna be ruling, the preppy boy or the fucking working class? As if there's fucking some kind of working class hero or something bullshit. John Lennon said it right. Fucking working class hero. Fuck you. There's no such thing as a hero. Hero's all fucking myth. Okay, so it don't matter if you're a working class, if you're a preppy boy, it don't matter what school you go to, what school you didn't go to. All it matters is that you're conscious, because consciousness is the true reality that you can't fucking perceive, that you think is fucking physical reality, which is a fucking myth. Okay, I'm getting excited here. So if you understand what I just read, and I'm not going to read it again, because the snitch said that we got them one hand in the other hand. This is what they did with the fucking, when they went into Iraq, Oman, Amen, is the sun god, otherwise known as the god of the sun or the son of God, which is the same myth. Oman, Aman, Amen. I speak, therefore I am. I think, therefore I am. The word is good, and I am the word, and the word is good. Okay. So this is what they did. They had Blur in their right hand, and they had fucking Oasis in their left hand, and they're fucking so stupid. Both of them were like, yeah, we're the good, we're the preppy, and we're the working class, as if they're fucking really, they're just fucking divide and conquer. This is human programming. It's always about divide and conquer. So if you fucking ever fucking watch mainstream media, you're gonna be fucking controlled by the human. It's called the FAT system. It's the program of human approximation terminus. FAT, P-H-A-T. So I'm going to run a process. If you're willing to get out of the fucking matrix field, it's called the FAT programming process. P-H-A-T. And if you would say yes or think yes to this, and if you, even if you don't say yes to it, your subconscious mind is going to say yes to it. Processing. FAT processing? No, that's not what it's called. Okay. Yes, this is access consciousness. I'm giving credit where credit is due, but this wasn't the first people who wrote about this, because I was the first person who wrote about it secretly in another life, because I am access conscious, and I am Gary Douglas, and I am Rajat Foch, and I am Jose Toda. Okay, it's not coming up. Access clearing, how about that? Okay, should I do that one? No. Newest? Is it on this? The FAT program on this one? No, it's not. Why is it? I'm getting a yes. Okay, it's because I have to run the other one before I run the FAT program one. Okay, so let me just not run the whole process. Let me just do it a shortened version. So FAT stands for Program of Human Approximation Terminus. Terminus is the end of like the bridge that goes to nowhere. You drop off. It's the docking station for the fleet of warrior ships going off into the Mediterranean. So it's the end. You can't go over the terminus, or you fall into the ocean, you drown. So the Human Approximation Terminus program is all about playing to the lowest common denominator and divide and conquer and rule by sheepdomism. So I'm not going to go through the whole process of FAT programming, but everywhere you've aligned or agreed with FAT programming, and you believe in the divide and conquer technique as true and real, or you made it true and real, and you were into the trauma and drama that human reality tries to perpetuate upon everyone by the so-called news, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate at all times a Buddha zillion? Just say yes, right and wrong, good and bad, all nine. Pardon, box, short, close, man. Okay, I said the access conscious clearing statement, which I have a video, an hour video explaining it by Rika Zimmerman, who was the first and only, so far, officially decertified or excommunicated access conscious facilitator, publicly humiliated by the founder, Gary Douglas, and the reason why I don't pay a penny to access conscious until they're willing to pay me back for all the work I've done for them over the billions of years that they didn't know me. Okay, because I actually keep a tally lifetime to lifetime, and they think they can rescind, recant, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate all oaths, vows, commitments, fealties, and communities they have to me, but they can't. Some of these are undestroyable. Okay. The Beatles would be promoted as the good boys rock. Okay, we already read that part. So, yes, I'm going to read that again because I don't think I read that one. The Beatles would be promoted as the good boys of rock, while our friends, the Stones, would be promoted as the hellish demons. And the reason why they did a lot of backmasting, which said Satan lives and all this stuff, is because they were doing backmasting about Paul is dead and stuff on the Beatles one, and they copied that. The Beatles were the first to discover backmasting accidentally. And Aleister Crowley gave them the impetus to realize that it actually, everything your mind can read forward, it can read backwards. So, for example, if I read this to you backwards, it would be Tlolu Elahu Ehal Murafustan Altrant Dulahu Elfumu. Okay, so your subconscious mind knows what I read, and I'm not going to read that part because that's the part. If I read that part, I would get sued. So, I'm going to read the next part. The Beatles would be promoted as the good boys of rock, while our friends, the Stones, would be promoted as hellish demons. The idea that came from a few rungs higher up the influential ladder than George Martin. So George Martin's paymasters, a few more rungs up the ladder of the corporatocracy, the we're going to call it the corporate ladder. No, we're going to call it the what it really is, the rankism. The rankism of rankism. So these guys way up the ladder than George Martin was that each band would split the world at its own level. So this is why they had Blur and Oasis in the 90s make this fake fucking fight. And they didn't even know. They were fucking controlled by the fucking brainwashing media. And it was put out in this fucking teen magazine that Blur and Oasis are battling for who's going to win the top charts. And they fucking made them this fucking battle, which was fucking total bullshit. Like they do with rappers. They always said, the West Coast against the East Coast. It's fucking all controlled by the fucking Illuminati families that want you fighting over the fucking, like, Mexicans are against black people and black people are against Mexicans. That's the fucking rulers fucking controlling you. So if you think you're against the fucking conservatives and because you're progressive and or if you're conservative and you're against progressives, or you're fucking Democrat against Republican, it's all a fucking brainwashing fucking control fucking mechanism that divide and conquer your fucking mind. There's no such thing as division. It's all a fucking myth. There's no separation. That's one of my songs in my next album. You're gonna have to listen to the song to know what the fuck I'm talking about that. Okay. So, the reason they did this split and have these competing, the same thing they did when they went into Iraq, which was a false war to take the fucking oil, take the fucking riches from the kingdom of fucking Saudi Arabia and all the other fucking kingdoms that were stored in the Baghdad museums and the fucking other places, and all the gold that was under the World Trade Center that happened to disappear before the fucking planes even hit the tower. And then fucking the light circuits went off the fucking 3 days before when they fucking put in the new fucking bomb mechanisms, and they fucking had to evacuate the buildings because there was some electrical malfunctions in the elevator shafts and in the fucking lighting systems on all the floors of the 3 buildings that all fucking fell at free fall speed, that totally destroyed the Enron case that would have implemented both fucking wings of the corporatocracy called Demokin Republicrat, which are fucking all the same fucking Manchurian candidates, whether it's fucking Clinton or it's fucking what's his name, Drumpf. They're all fucking the same fucking Illuminati fucking controlled puppets that you fucking think you're fucking voting against the other guy, so you're fucking voting for the fucking same person. It's just a fucking sheep in another fucking wolf's clothing. Okay. Or is it another wolf in a sheep's clothing? I don't know. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Okay, so the reason they did this, these higher ups above George Martin, is each band would split the world at its own level. So whatever you think, whatever side you take, you're either with the fucking preppy boys called the Beatles, or you're with the bad boys called the Rolling Stones, not knowing they're the same puppets for the same fucking people. Or if you're fucking for Blur because you're fucking white collar, or if you're for fucking Oasis because you're blue collar and you think there's fucking really difference between white collar and blue collar because the fucking people with the fucking black tie only fucking memberships in the fucking boys club that you'll never fucking ever get into are fucking pulling both strings going, look at these fucking stupid humans, they think there's fucking a real division. We fucking pulling both their fucking strings. Okay, so they did this to achieve a societal fragmentation and disintegration that is necessary to have an irreversible cultural revolution back to the cult of Dionysus, a god of wine and madness. Okay, so these Illuminati families, they fucking worship these fucking cult figures like Dionysus because they're all fucking Satanists. No, they're not all Satanists. A lot of them are fucking Kabbalah fucking nuts and fucking Christo-fascist, death in the name of Jesus. What is it? The history of Western civilization could be coined in one phrase, which is, what is it fucking called? It's called fucking genocide in the name of Jesus, which is the antithesis of everything Jesus ever taught, because fucking always the second guy in line always fucks it all up, and his name was John. Anyway, not John in the Beatles, but John in the Bible. Paul. Paul, John. You wonder why they called him Paul and John. Because Paul and John in the fucking Bible are the ones that fucked up the whole Jesus teaching, made you fucking put him up on a cross, which he never really died on. Worship him so that you can realize you're not him, and he's not you, which is what the other John, the Lennon John guy, also named Lennon because of the other Lennon, who was also part of the Illuminati family that probably named him Lennon too, as part of the play on words that it really means. Okay, so Dionysus is one of the many cult figures they like, because they like fucking wine and madness, because that's the way they control you. You just fucking give them wine. When you're done feeding them bread, just feed them wine, and they can all go mad, and they can all fucking join the military, and all go fucking blow up fucking sheeps in deserts that don't really exist. ISIS or Al Qaeda, which are fucking all Illuminati fucking front organizations for fucking fantasy fucking bullshit. So what they did in Baghdad is the same divide and conquer technique they did with Blur and fucking Oasis, and they did with fucking the Beatles and the Stones. They fucking said the Shiites are fighting the Sunnis, and the Sunnis are fighting. There was no fucking division. They're fucking the same fucking families. Oh, I'm Shiite. Everyone's like, oh fuck, I didn't know the fucking Shiites were fighting the. What are we? Oh, we're Sunni. Oh no, but Uncle fucking Joseph is a Shiite, isn't he? Oh no, but also Aunt fucking Susie's also a Shiite. Oh fuck. Should we kill our own family members? Like, they fucking got everyone fucking hypnotized into believing like there's a fucking divide and conquer. Like, oh, these guys are against these, like fucking whites against the blacks, or the fucking Mexicans. You're fucking so stupid if you think there's a fucking division, or, oh, the fucking immigrants are taking our jobs, or the fucking, we need to build a wall and all this bullshit. It's all fucking mind control, fucking stupidness. Okay, everyone can ignore all of that. So everything I just said, fucking ignore it all. The relevance here is that top-level social scientists, including Willis Harman, do you recognize the name? Who have ties to those over the conglomerates who control the media, gave us an opportunity to really change the world. Now, change the world. It all depends on if it's going to change for the good or the better, and most of the times it goes for the better, not because they wanted that, but because they don't realize consciousness is in control, not them. So I'm conscious, and all the other white hats that work on my side are conscious, and they know why I'm doing what I'm doing, so that if they try to take me to court, I already told you in sign language another 2 or 3 ways in the last 15 minutes. Okay. They took a special interest in these two bands sufficient to represent us to the world in a most powerful media light. The Beatles and the Stones were distinct on our level of operation, but were used in concert by the powers that be, otherwise known as the powers that were, because December 21st, 2001 was the beginning of the new sleeper cells that I belong to coming out of the dark, which is why my first official album was released that day to a very small group of people in Niigata on the butt side of Japan, which is where they used to exile people. And the reason I'm on this side of the Alps, not only because Fukushima happened after I got here, but I was living on the Fukushima side, and I moved before it happened because I was tuned into the fact it was going to happen. And I actually tried to do a debate with some of the pro-nuclear activists. I'm saying it like I'm George Bush. The pro-nuclear activists and the anti-nuclear. I was going to do a big show on my previous podcast, which had a 1 year playing once every 2 weeks, twice a month, called Tim Harada's, I just said one of my other secret names, Tim Harada's Peace in the Far East podcast, which will soon be up on YouTube videos. That was from the year 2010, for 1 year, exactly from 2009 to 10, and it was let go. I'm digressing purposely to let everything I said before sink in, because you're not ready to really listen to what I'm saying. So, we did not receive their full detailed plan, but did have heavy doors opened for us. As long as each band worked within their guidelines, that abruptly changed when I came along. Everything played out perfectly. So as long as each of the four, at the time 4 or 5 Beatles, including the fucking Martin was the 5th Beatle, as long as they did everything as planned, everything worked out perfect. But as soon as they pulled in this Illuminati high-up member who is actually a secret agent, otherwise known as Billy Shears, he's actually a secret agent for the same organization that I belong to. That is the reason why he got knighted, and only one of the Beatles that got knighted, because he was willing to play along with. He's a white hat within the organizations. There are a lot of black hats that you confuse with white hats. If you don't know what a white hat is and a black hat is, you're gonna have to look it up on another video, because I don't have time for your stupidity if you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, but I will have you know I am a white hat. And don't get fooled, the white hats, with the White Hat Report, because that was a group of people that called themselves white hats, and they may or may not be white hats in the organizations that I belong to. Okay, we're going to go on. We did not receive their full detailed plan. So they were doing this divide and conquer with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and the Beatles and the Rolling Stones did not realize what was happening really to them, because they only gave them little parts of the story. They discovered over years what was happening, and I hope Blur and Oasis watch this video so they can understand what happened to them. They thought there was fucking this war going on for 10 years for the white collar people and the fucking blue collar people, and there's no fucking such thing as white collar or blue collar people. I have a blue white collar, as you notice here, and I have a fucking blue, light blue, baby blue collar here. I'm neither white collar or blue collar. I'm neither fucking black tie or white tie. I'm neither fucking, well, I did call myself a white hat, but white, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be, Beck Mix, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be, Beck Mix. Okay, enough of that. In the case of the Stones, who were essentially told to be evil devil worshippers, so they told them, and they're going to put backmasking in, they're going to make you just play it, sympathy for the devil. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. Been around for a long, long year. Sold to many a man, sold to waste. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guess my name. Some call me fucking Lucifer, but I'm a victim of the same game. I just changed the last lines there. So that was just a whole fucking act. That was just a divide and conquer technique. These are the good boys with the suits, and we're the fucking bad boys, Satanists, and whatever. It's all fucking divide and conquer. It's, you fucking think there's actually such a thing as devil and angel, and there's such a thing as Christianity, and there's such a thing as satanic worship. It's all fucking part of this thing called reality, which is a myth. Yes, I just said that. Reality's a fucking myth. Okay. In the case of the Stones, who were essentially told to be evil devil worshippers, they were told that the more they can incite their audiences to destroy all the Stones venues. So the fucking people that burn all the albums of the Beatles because John Lennon purposely said what he was told to say. Oh, I think we're bigger than Jesus Christ. That fucking caused them to fucking go platinum when they would have fucking only went gold, because all the fucking lunatic fucking think they're Christ followers when they're fucking actually practicing the antithesis of what Christ taught, because they're following John and Paul, which are two fucking fictitious fucking Illuminati frontmen from the 1st century BC, who fucking hijacked fucking Christ's teaching when he went off in hiding, because they told you he died on a cross, which he didn't fucking do, because it was 3 other people hung on the cross the same day, and he was the one that was fucking let down early because they gave him some fucking potion that fucking put him to sleep, and they said he's already dead, let him out. And they brought him up to the caves they were supposed to bury him in, and what did they do? They fucking gave him the other myrrh and some other fucking herbs that fucking got him off the sleeping medicine, and then they fucking went off in hiding to teach the Gnostics what real Christianity was, and then the fucking Illuminati front organization called the Vatican created a fucking religion out of fucking all the bullshit lies of John and Paul. Not the John and Paul of the Paul and John McCartney Lennon, but the other Paul and John who you think were actual apostles, but they were fucking patsies and moles in the fucking system of the Vatican. Okay, anyway, that's a long fucking story we're gonna have to save for another fucking day, because you guys aren't ready for that one. Because you guys think you guys are Christians. Some of you guys think you're Christian, but you're not. You're fucking the Antichrist, because you fucking practice the antithesis of everything Jesus taught. Jesus taught that you're a fucking enlightened being from time without beginning. You're a Buddha from time without beginning. You're a fucking... He taught everything that the fucking final teachings of Buddhism taught, but you fucking couldn't even fucking hear him, because he couldn't even speak your fucking... He didn't speak your language because you fucking spoke and fucking babble, because you're a fucking Babylon, fucking babbling on the mic, babble bullshit. Okay, anyway, enough babbling. Okay, so they had him fight, you know, like Blur and fucking Oasis did, which is a fucking fake fight just to fucking get all the fucking media people going, oh, there's a fucking battle going on, we gotta fucking take sides, and everyone's gonna buy CDs to fucking help the other side, so everyone's fucking buying all these CDs to fucking, I'm gonna fucking, the white collar's gonna win the fucking blue collars, and the blue collar's gonna win the white collars. It's like this fucking big sports game. It's fucking some big, like, fucking chariot race or something, and fucking, little did you know the fucking chariot racers were all fucking the criminals that they fucking said you can either die by fucking lions, or you can fucking go out and fucking kill each other by swords and fucking chariots. Otherwise, you know, your choice. A rock and a hard place. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Once again, they were told, this is the Stones and the devil worshippers, they were told the more they could incite their audience to destroy all the Stones venues. So everywhere the Rolling Stones played, and they can incite the audience to fucking destroy those places, the greater would their hold on the world. So they have to have fighting. If they don't fucking send all the fucking poor people off to fucking die in war, they fucking send them off to the pub to get fucking drunk and beat each other up. Because that's how they fucking control the masses. just fucking give them alcohol, just fucking take away all their natural rights to photosynthesis, which is hemp and fucking natural medicine, and give them fucking the poison of the fucking devil called alcohol, so we can tax them and fucking keep them on the fucking boob sucking fucking trough. Is that the word? Trough? No, anyway, that's another fucking word. Okay, they did their psychotic best to make fans go insanely berserk. And that's a fucking powerful word there. Berserk. Blitzkrieg. B-E-R-Z-E-R-K. Look up the fucking prior to 1945, if you can find one of those old fucking thick-ass dictionaries and find where that word comes from, and you'll find it actually comes from the same root of some of the words I just said earlier that I'm not going to repeat. For instance, in the U.S., they got their audience so worked up in a frenzy, vandalizing the Ed Sullivan set, that he swore they would never be invited back. That was what fucking they were told to do. With that, publicized endorsement sales soared. They just fucking blew up the Ed Sullivan show and fucking smashed the chairs and broke the records. You wonder why the Nirvana and all those people that fucking smashed the guitar, and you thought, oh, that's multi-nine. That's vandalism. That's destroying Mother Nature. Some kid in a third world country had to put that fucking guitar together, because you look at all the guitars. This was made in 1973 in Japan. It's called a fucking. It's called. Where's the name? Right there. Maruha. This was actually made by Japanese workers in Japan back when the 70s, when things made in Japan were not yet costing $1 million. But all the stuff that the people were breaking, these guitars and stuff, were made by third world poor people to keep them fucking working, because if they don't fucking keep working, they're gonna go against the system and fucking rebel. So you got to keep the people working. There's a song by Julian Lennon, who I think is better than John Lennon. His latest 4 CDs are way better than John Lennon. He got the good genes that outlived his father. He stepped on his fucking father's shoulders and fucking soared way above him. But anyway, you guys won't know that until you actually go listen to them. But one of his songs on his first or second album was "Keep the People Working." Gotta keep the people working. In the bed of iron they cast the final weapon, just to keep the people working. Gotta keep the people working. So in order fucking to keep the people working, you gotta have fucking things that get destroyed very easy. And if you can't get them destroyed easy enough, you fucking hire some fucking guys like Nirvana to fucking smash them. So that's just how they fucking. Otherwise, they're gonna have to bomb countries and fucking kill all these people that. In the song "Keep the People Working" says, "There never was an innocent who didn't want to die." Okay. Okay, with that, publicized endorsements soared. So after they fucking destroyed everything, because now, oh, they're bad boys, man. Okay, we can fucking endorse them. John and George were especially close to the Stones. One day when Mick was at EMI studio, he overheard me talking to John and Ringo about some of Paul's assets. Mick became irritated with me. So Mick didn't like the fact that this guy, Billy Shears, was playing the part of his friend who died in '66. And now he's talking about what he's going to do with the assets of this guy, and he got fucking annoyed by that. He told me that I am in, quote, my obsession on his new album. So the Stones started also doing Paul is Dead clues in a lot of their songs, because they were pissed off about it, and they couldn't say the truth out either, because they would have been fucking canned, because Illuminati was fucking pulling their strings too. That I am obsessed with getting all of Paul's nicest belongings. So not only did this guy have to give up his fucking name and disconnect from his family and his friends, but in order to do that, he said, I need all of John Paul's royalties, plus his house, plus his girlfriend, Plus, and the reason he did this because he didn't want to take the fucking job. He didn't want to give up his whole life, because he gave up more. Give up your fucking whole life and all your family and all your friends and all your former bandmates and fucking change your name and give up your identity and fucking do plastic surgery and do RAM, which is radical appearance modification, which is why it's all in capital letters, RAM. It's not only MAR backwards, but that's one of the many reasons. And it says in this book, radical appearance modification, in different words. It says radicalized. I changed my appearance radically. Okay, so my obsession, that I am obsessed with getting all of Paul's nicest belongings. Then he sang his line, my obsession, your possessions, every piece that I can get, he said. That's you, Bill. All about taking everything that was Paul's. You tell us over and over again that your actions are all for Paul and that he's better off with you taking his place. But I don't think so. That's what Mick in the Rolling Stones said to Billy Shears, a.k.a. the new Paul McCartney, now known as Sir Paul McCartney. Then he sang to us, quote, I don't mind if it's unkind and it's not my property, but I want it just to be mine exclusively. So he was writing about, he was bad-mouthing the new Beatles the new Beatles boss, otherwise known as Sgt. Pepper. He went on with other parts that also pointed to me. How can you say that? I said. Paul wanted it this way, because Paul picked his successor when he knew he was going to die, and he actually saw this guy at a party, and he actually felt kind of scared because he saw into the future when he saw him. Okay, and I gave up everything and practically everyone to save this band. It didn't cost the band 1 cent, just Paul's family, his heirs. Ringo said, it's only fair, you know. The new man may take the fortune. Ringo was quoted on the montage of Paul's death clues of I Am the Walrus. Before the final verse, just after the second line of They Are the Eggmen, you can hear, new man may take the fortune. So there's, if you turn up the volume on a lot of these songs, you can hear all the secret clues on these songs. The Eggman is, anyway, I talked about it before, I don't want to talk about it again. You would have to listen to it to catch it. It is background chatter. I, the new man, am shown at that point in the movie. So on the movie, I Am the Walrus. What's that from? The Yellow Submarine? No, I forget what movie. I saw them all a long time ago and I can't remember. I'm going to have to watch them again. I had been told that Paul became a millionaire the year before. That was one of the reasons that I nabbed the job when it was offered. It was not to preserve Beatlemania, but to suddenly be some great and wealthy superstar. It was a dream job for sure. I wanted the fame and fortune. For the sacrifice I made, I got his inheritance. I said to Mick, John did not object to me getting it. That's not the only one we have. That's not the only one we have about you replacing Paul, Bill, Mick said. We all talked it over when we wrote Something's Happened to Me Yesterday. So in a lot of music people, they write songs to each other secretly. Like Alabama wrote to the singer of Southern Man. Southern man, better keep your head. Don't forget what your good book says. So in Alabama said, we don't need no Southern man. What's the author of that song? Now my brain's going out of whack, from Canada, which I know quite well because he's one of my favorite singers. Let's just go with the other four names and I'll remember. Crosby, Stills, Nash, Young. So Young wrote Southern Man, and then Alabama wrote against him, who needs this northerner from Canada anyway, in Sweet Home Alabama. Neil Young got a problem about the Southland. Who needs Neil Young anyway? Or whatever it goes, I forget. But all bands do this. They like to fight it in public, secret messages to each other that you don't always know. And like when Paul left the Beatles and dissolved the Beatles, John accused him of writing silly love songs, which is what Paul McCartney said when he joined the Beatles. He said, or the new Paul McCartney, Billy Shears, Paul McCartney number 2, our fall McCartney. He said, I don't want to do any more silly love songs. The Beatles have been all silly love songs. We need to graduate from the silly love songs and write real songs. And John Lennon said, what are you talking about? Silly love songs is what helped us become what we are. If we stop writing silly love songs, then we're going to lose everything. And he said, no, you're not. And finally they agreed. That was one of his ultimatums, or he wouldn't join the band. So he got the right. The only love song that all the other love messages were all secret messages about Paul's dead. And they wrote it as if it's a love song, but it's not really a love song. There are secret clues, which I'll talk about in the chapters of this book. This book fully discusses it. Okay. Where am I going? Okay, I got totally lost in the brain stuff that's going on because I'm starting to what's it called? Vortex, because you guys are vortexing. So I might just end it here, and I might do this a part 1, part 2 thing, but I want to read a little bit more to see if that train of thought comes back. So I'm going to read back what I just read, a little bit of a... Oh, yeah. Okay, so they write songs back and forth to each other. Oh, yeah. So John Lennon said after Paul McCartney left the Beatles, now John Lennon used the accusation against Paul McCartney, or a.k.a. Billy Shears, that he writes all silly love songs. So in order to get back at him, he said, some people try to fill the world with silly love songs. What's wrong with that? Please let me know, 'cause here I go again. I love you. He totally made a fucking fun of his silly love songs from the Beatles days, because John Lennon was the one who was defending for silly love songs, and now he was using it against him when he left the Beatles, saying now he's just writing all these silly love songs. Anyway, he was actually in love because he met Linda and fell in love, so that was his first real love, and he was finally writing silly love songs because that's what happens when you fall in love. So fuck it, I wrote some silly love songs back in my loving days. I might fall in love again in the future, who knows. Now my fucking love songs are all fight songs in disguise. Okay, where are we at? Okay, never call me Bill again, I said. I gave up my whole life to be Paul. Tell him, John. Even in jest, John said, never call him Bill. Okay, Billy boy, I've told him. So they would call him Willie, Slick Willie, William, Billy boy. Just fucking with him. Something happened to me yesterday, Mick began to sing to me tauntingly. Something I can't speak of right away. He don't know if it's right or wrong. Maybe he should tell someone. He's not sure if it's against the law. Something very strange, I hear you say. So they were writing in their songs secret messages because they couldn't say things legally. Otherwise, they would be dropped from the EMI label and they'd probably be killed, like certain members of the Beatles were killed. Okay. Very funny, I interrupted. Is that on your album? Oh, you're talking in a most peculiar way, he sung on. Laughing, John inserted the words, Not at all like the Paul we knew, most peculiar. Very funny, I repeated. This was not the only time that they combined against me. So this is the reason why he dissolved the band, because everyone was, from the time he joined the band and became the leader of the band, they were fucking bullying him left and right and calling him Slick Willie and all these things behind the doors. They wouldn't say that on the media outlets, but they were pissed off because he was taking John Paul's role, even though they agreed to let him have it, and they were pissed off because he was running the band into better and better quality music, which they didn't have the stamina to endure the long lessons and the long studio practices and all the other stuff required, because they were lazy fucks. Okay. Everything else Mick sang to me then was a spontaneous impromptu version of the song. You don't know just where it's all gone. You don't really care at all. Now Billy is just not sure of what it was, what it means, what did you cause? You cannot say it's right or it's wrong, Billy. You can tell someone. Now you're unsure just what it was or if it's against the law. There's something more to pay for sins that you committed yesterday. So this whole act of taking over Paul McCartney's body and Paul McCartney's house and Paul McCartney's bass and Paul McCartney's left hand playing and Paul McCartney's girlfriend and all of his inheritance and everything else in his house. I think I said that twice. They're telling him in the song lyrics, I don't know if this is against the law, but it's a sin and you're going to be fucking burned in hell, because that's what I like to taunt him about. Anyway, that's all I'm going to read from the chapter called, which was falsely titled More Satanic Murders on the top of the chapter parts. On the head notes, what are they called? Footnotes are on the bottom. I don't know what this is called up there, head notes maybe. Of the chapter called Stoned to Hell, we called the press. So stoned is a double entendre. The Rolling Stones, otherwise stoned, it's two different things. And they'll stone you when they try to make a buck. They'll stone you and then they'll say good luck. There's two meanings to that. Stone you is what they did when you fucking got a girl pregnant who wasn't married. They would stone the lady to death, and that's why, anyway, that's a long, I don't want to go into that. So that's all I'm going to read, because I'll see what slack I get from that, from the legal men who put out this book, and then I can find out who really put out the book, because Pepper Press is what it says here, but Pepper Press is a subsidiary of another group of people, which I don't think it's, you got to look it up. Pepper Press is a subsidiary of MACCA, MACCA, Mecca Lecca Ha, Mecca Hani Ho. Look up MACCA, MACCA. It's not Mecca, but Mecca became MACCA. I'm just going to tell you what MACCA is, because all these Illuminati front organizations use ancient words. MACCA means, Wikipedia. MACCA is a common nickname for some English-speaking countries of Anglo-Saxon heritage. Less commonly in Canada and the United States, where Mac is used. Big Mac. And images of MACCA, otherwise known as Mecca, where the people are dancing around the Kaaba in the Middle East. That's Mecca, otherwise known as MACCA. There's many other words derived from that I won't get into. In my city, in Columbia. Okay, so I think I've said enough that if you don't realize what I'm getting at, then you're gonna have to go back and listen to it again, and go back and listen to my other videos, because I do other videos that are under different titles and different subjects that I slowly allude to who I'm working for and whom I'm working with and what I'm doing and how I'm working. So I welcome all lawyers to take me to court because the court system was actually created by me in a former life, and I still own it. Okay, thank you very much. Peace out.